Hello everyone, I thought I would do a video to show you some of my goodies that I have. This is the Divination Divided book, and I'm using this today with a few different modalities to just show you how it is used. This is a concept that I've actually sat on it for about 20 years, believe it or not, and it's a book that can be used with charms, cards, tarot, runes, coins, just about any type of divination tool you could think of. So what it is a unique concept that has split pages. And what it is, I was so excited about this, I've trademarked it because it was just so good and I was really excited. So what it is, on the pages, you have, I'll just flip it over and I'll show you some of the examples. On the right sides, you have all the different question cards or positions, and it's made so you can just flick and say, okay, I like them questions, or I like them questions, or you can literally go through and read them and say, okay, I want to ask about this job, like should I change to a new job, and then you can find out and mix and match as you like. The other side of it, I have left blank with the boxes so you can write in also some of your own favourite layouts. And I've written in many of these. So that one I haven't. So there I've written in some of my own questions. So just the book alone, if you decided not to fill in any of the blanks, the mix and match here is you have 900 plus combinations. So if you then fill in these sides of the book, you then end up with, wait for it, I sat there and counted, did the maths, 4,620 combinations. And everyone says, how do you get that many combinations, Karen? Well, it's simple. You can either use one page, you can use 2 pages, you can use those bottoms, you could use that one, you could use that one, you can use the diagonals, or you can go that way. So by mix and match, you've got 4,620 combinations. And I'd say you'd be very hard pushed to use that many, but at least it gives you the option. So the book itself is about 6 inches. I've had them, I do them coil binding for the reason is if you want, you can fold them back. So you're not there trying to spring a book open. This one's just my own. I just put a ribbon and a key on it because I thought, yep, I like it. I don't actually use it as a bookmark, but it's there if I wanted to. So you mix and match to your heart's content. And the material it's made of, it's not just paper. It's actually a thick cardstock, almost as thick as an actual playing card. And the stuff is called matte finished anti-scuff. So anti-scuff means you can cast your charms directly on it, and unless you ground them in, it ain't going to mark it. So it's a very high quality book and not just a paper booklet. So I'm going to go through and do a couple of different tools and show you how we use it. So I'm just going to grab a page. Okay, I'm going to use that one. Let me have a look. And I'll use that one. Okay, so I've also, these aren't numbered on the back, but these are numbered on this side. So say you've got a favourite that you like to use with your girlfriends or for clients and company people like that, you can write down, say, I like 18/36 or I like 18/48. So it's flexible. So I'm going to use this reading here. Sorry, let me just move this further down. And please forgive me that I am out of breath because I've recently had pneumonia, so I'm still struggling to breathe when I talk too much. which is all the time. So I'm going to use this scenario. So I've had recent back surgery. I've actually had 2. Both have failed. I've got to see a new surgeon, which is this Tuesday, thank goodness. They got me in urgently. And so I'm going to ask about this new surgeon, and I know that new surgery is inevitable, unfortunately. So I'm going to ask about this particular surgeon. He is a very high up professor here, leading neurosurgeon in many of our major hospitals. So what's the positives? What is needed? What's the obstacle? What advice? What's short term and what's long term? Perfect questions. So now I've got 2 lots of charms in my lovely little swans here today. This charm kit here is my standard starter charm kit. That's a set of 50, and that comes with a book, a little dictionary, the little white book, and it's just got the positives and negatives of the charms. And this one, I couldn't fit them all in together. This one here is all my theme pack charms, and the theme packs come in collectives like health collective, garden collective, school, travel, also just affirmations, and there's a whole bunch of all these word charms. So that's a lovely one, strong is beautiful. So I'm going to use the 50 ones up here, and then I'm going to use the add-on theme packs down here. So, and I'm just going to draw a couple of charms for each box. So, what's the positives? What is needed? What are the obstacles? Oh, I had to pull that one, didn't it? Okay, then I'm going to look down the bottom here. What is the advice? What's the short term? What's the long term? Okay, so I'm going to read the top half first. So what's the positives about this new surgeon? I've got tent and angel. Angel's actually really lovely. It does tell me, yes, divine intervention has given me this opportunity, which they truly have, because my first appointment wasn't until mid-September, but they've pulled strings for this Tuesday, which will be the 9th of August. The tent here would tell me it's like a warm blanket around me. So positives here is I will feel comfortable. I will feel good with this person. What is needed? We've got the ship and the cat. So the ship means, yes, looking at things that's long term. It does mean it is progression, but it won't be that fast. The cat here would tell me I need to trust, because cat is often about the 2 faces. So there would tell me I need to trust in the long-term journey. The obstacles, that's an interesting one, because I've got the grave and the book. There could tell me I may discover something that is, yes, literally very grave, and the book that was not revealed to me. It could also tell me very grave as in results, because I've had to have all sorts of other scans and so on last week, so I don't know the results of these yet. So to see grave and book would tell me the results may be a lot more problematic than I realise. So the advice, I love cake. So we've got a piece of cake on a plate, and I've also got the spade. So advice, spade, hard work is required, and it's not going to be easy. So cake there usually means feeding yourself. So there would tell me I have to put in the work in order for it to feed myself. Short-term future, it's nice to see the running shoe and a paintbrush. Running shoe would tell me, yes, I will gain more movement or activity, but the paintbrush there would tell me, though, I probably need to make sure they are calmer activities. Long-term future, that's nice to see the caravan and the soccer ball, or some people call it the football if you're in the UK. Caravan is, again, camping, adventure, and the football would tell me play. So it tells me the long term, this will be good for me, because it does mean literally I can get out and about with more activity. That's actually not a bad reading for considering what I'm going through. The surgery, I'll explain for those who don't know or followed my path. I've had wires threaded up through my spinal cord, and they were connected to a battery which is implanted in my back, in the lower back, and it's supposed to help with the pain where I had a really bad fall last year, and it hasn't helped, and so I am literally vibrating because the wires have moved down the vertebrae and it's causing vibrations from my waist down. So, and you'll probably notice I have terrible tremors in my hands, and it's causing a problem as well there. So I'm just going to make sure I don't mix those up because I leave those to show you. Now I can go in, sorry, I've just got plastic cover on mine because I've spilled tea everywhere. So I'm just going to go and I'm just going to grab some other ones. Actually, I like that. I'm just going to use there. And I'm going to show you now how you use this book with cards. Now, this here is my new latest tea leaf reading cards. And this one is called Serendipi-Tea. It's very bold colours, and they're hand-drawn images that I did myself. I should call it my COVID deck, because after I got out of hospital, I got COVID and pneumonia on top of the surgery. So what did I do in that downtime? I drew a deck. Now, this is a very unique deck because we have first ever, well, I know it's first ever for me, I've put in 2 non-binary people cards. It also has our 2 men cards and our 2 ladies cards. And I've made that so you can either have your heterosexual relationships or you can have 2 ladies, 2 men. But also now you've got the option to have your 2 non-binary people. And when you are using people cards, I always say choose them, the ones with the arrows that either face each other. Now, non-binary will always face each other like that because that is needed when you're looking at bigger spreads. So if you were just putting the standard man-woman in your deck, the red and blue go together because you've got your 2 arrows. Whereas if you put your red and your brown together, and I did them as close again so it doesn't assimilate to people, these 2 arrows are facing that direction. So they would never work if you are using your big spreads because it would always have one looking away from the other. So your red-blue go together as your lady man there. And your brown and green go together there because, again, of your arrows. So always make sure you choose which ones you want. And it's the same here with our non-binary. If we have these in a great big layout, if the people will say one there and all the other cards, they would tell me, yes, they're paying attention to each other. But if that was that way around, it would tell me there's problems between these 2 people. So the arrows are important in particular when you are looking at the people card. I have put a cover card in here to explain about the non-binary. Because of non-binary, and it really is such an emotional and personal decision, I have not then put a meaning of non-binary in the book because it is up to the person to make that decision. So, now let's have a look at this. And I'm going to use a scenario of, let's say, I don't know, a young couple with a small baby. They've been together for quite a few years. They're not legally married, but have everything else in life together, and the child is the biggest commitment of all. So, but there's a bit of rocky in the relationship, and so let's have a look. And so I'm looking at this, and say we're reading for the lady part. So you can lay these directly on your book because this is the mini version in them, and there is also the bigger version. I'll show you that in a minute. Or you have the option, I'll just bring that up a bit, or you have the option of just place your cards top and bottom of it. So, reading first here, the baby, the energy of the relationship. Well, yes, they've got the child together, but a baby pram with a relationship would tell me it's probably a very immature relationship, because baby means small, young, new, and immature. Given the problems, I would look at that and say it's a very immature relationship, and one of them is literally behaving like a child. So what isn't working? We've got the mountain. That's not a great one for what isn't working, because the mountain there would tell me there's a lot of problems, there's obstacles. It can mean one of the parties too is literally stubborn as a rock in the situation, and this is based on a client that I do know. So there would tell me, yes, one of them isn't moving. What is working? We've got the bird. That's a good one, which means open communication. So there would indicate to me, yes, there is some talks going. The only problem is I don't like it with the mountain, and the bird is literally looking at the mountain. So it's like one of the parties is talking and the other one isn't. Untapped strength to draw upon. Butterfly is beautiful, because the butterfly there would tell me there is so much joy to have in this relationship. So there is a lot of joys to have. So this is the one that needs the work, is what isn't working, is the someone who's stubborn as a rock. Now, when you use cards or charms, I like to layer, like think of a cream cake where you got cake and cream and strawberries, and then cake and cream and strawberries, and then why not add another cake and cream and strawberries? So when I see a problematic symbol, I like to layer on that, and I'm only going to go one layer on it, so I want to know more about what isn't working. The sword. So there tells me there's loads of arguments and problems that's going on. Not good. So now, I'll just move that one there. So now I'm just going to move that up there so you can see it. We've got self, rival, and advice. So this is the female we are reading for. Self there, we've got the scales, which means she's trying to weigh up the options, but she's probably feeling very out of balance. There would tell me it's like she's trying to keep the peace. The rival, which in this case is the relationship, because there is not another third party, but the relationship itself, we've got the lion, which tells me who is trying to control this relationship. Again, it's fearful. It's in its positive as protector, but with it there as a rival would tell me there's anger, there's power, and there's control. What's the advice? Mushroom there would tell me she needs to probably lay low for a while. Mushroom is a health symbol, so it does often mean look at the health of the relationship. Again, I'm going to lay out these two because I want to know more about the problem and I want a little bit more of advice here. So layering there, again, tough card, tornado. So it still does tell me the power between these two is what's probably causing the arguments. Both want to control. Again, very, very heavy negative card. Tent there would tell me they need to call a truce because, like I said, tent is often like a warm blanket that's wrapped around. So there would tell me in order to stop the arguments, they need some time out. Tent there, because it's a couple, would tell me they both need time out literally alone, which would tell me those as a couple, not including their child. So someone needs to look after the child while they have some time alone to sort through the destruction that's going on. So more here on the advice. The grave here again, very, very tough card over mushroom because it's there. It's like who's going to call it as an end. I don't like these. They are coming there. The triangle would still tell me lots of complications in this relationship. This, when I look at this, and if this client was sitting in front of me there, my advice would tell me unless you do take this time out and settle what the arguments and the anger problems that's going on, I don't see a good outcome to this. So this is where they need the work. And the advice here, you would be very blunt with the client and say, you both need to look seriously because this relationship will not last while you are continuing doing this type of thing that's going on. Just going to go one more. Angel, which is a beautiful card. They can work through it, but they're going to have to really put a lot of work into it in order to make this work. So that's how you use this wonderful book if you are using cards. So just popping these back in. These are beautiful, like I said, they're full colour. They are made in a very thick cardstock, so they are not flimsy at all. They are in a very high gloss. I'll show you the back as well. So the back is just plain blue turquoise, and you can barely see it, just who made them? Me. So I've kept it very, very simple, and it has all the other people cards. So that is Serendipi-Tea. I'll show you the size difference. That's the mini version, pardon me, and this is the bridge size version. So they are listed both on my website and the Etsy store. So the bridge size is 2 1/4 inches by 3 1/2 inches. The mini is 1 3/4 inches by, 2 1/4 inches. So it's basically the same. Oh no, it's 2 1/2 inches. It's not 2 1/4. What am I measuring? Yeah, 2 1/2 inches. So there is special deals where you do get a discount if you want to buy both the bridge and the mini sizes together. Some people like the bigger ones at home in their room. The mini ones are fabulous to throw in your bag or your pocket for taking on the run with you. So, and the book, like I said, is a extended book. Like that's a normal little white book that you usually get with charms. That's the difference. This also has 60-something pages in it, 65 or something. 65, yeah, 65. My books are written where each of the main topics, not just the keywords. And the reason I've done it like this is, like dragon, for instance, will mean something different if it's in a relationship as opposed to career or financials. And a lot of people don't realise that. And the other thing is too, these are 50 card decks plus the people decks. Now, I get a lot of questions from Lenormand readers, and a lot of people do not realise that tea leaf reading, coffee reading and so on predates Lenormand cards. And the bonus with tea cards is you can read them identical the way you would read Lenormand decks, only the bonus is instead of 36 cards with Lenormand, you have 50. So you're gaining another 14 cards, like you've got your lions and your mushroom and your sword and hot air balloon and cat and mask and, there's so many, mermaids and peacocks and so on. They are a lot more meaning. So for Lenormand readers, these are like an extended Lenormand deck. And like I said, tea cards and coffee cards predate Lenormand. And a lot of people don't know that. So they're actually a lot more bang for buck, as we say here in Australia, than a 36 card Lenormand deck. So do think about that. Now I want to have another look, and I'll show you with some coins. So, let's use that one. Let's have a look, because I'm going to use this as, say, let's have a look at a young person with a career. Let me do this. Well, actually, that's a good start. So we'll say a young man who's in a job that he's bored out of his brains with, and he's thinking, should I look for another job that I know I can get another place easy and so on. So I'm going to be using my coins. Now this coin here, these are my Steampunk coins, and they are made of metal and glass. Each coin is an inch or 25 millimeters. They are very, very rust. Most people think glass is fragile. It's not when it's embedded in a case. And before I go into that, I just want to show you, whoops, there's also extras in this coin where I have a yes and a no. And there's also, I've got to find them because I didn't separate it, I'm sorry. We also have all the non-binary in these as well. So, and these are my Steampunk coins. And I don't know where my, oh, there it is. And there I have my yes and no. And there is another non-binary person in there somewhere. And that's the man's jacket. And there is also a lady's in there. So, and like I said, these are very, very robust. They come in a velvet bag, a black velvet bag, so you can then go through them in the bag so you don't see what you're pulling. So I'm going to use our young man, and I'm going to use coins. Right, so we've got that one, what to do and what not to do. Okay, so he's saying, should I change jobs? We've got the hourglass. So it does tell me where he's in the two minds there. Hourglass often means he can be thinking very fickle, not knowing yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. So there would tell me he needs to make a solid, firm decision. What needs changing to get a yes? I've pulled the non-binary person. Now, me personally, if I pull people cards on a specific question or coins charm, I actually draw another because I don't like using people as a choice. Non-binary, I would put that aside. If you wanted to read that there, non-binary, there would tell me he's unsure of what to do. But I want to answer this question. So what needs to change to get a yes? We've got the ship. It's actually an airship. And the ship would tell me, look at the progression forward. It means, though, he needs to get out and do something. It's an action symbol, which means you need to get off your butt to get a yes in order to do it. So it's look at the progression of where this can take you. What needs changing if I get a no? We've got the angel. Does he have a superiority complex? Does he think that he's too good for this new job? So what does he need to change? There would tell me, look at your attitude. What does he got to do? The hot air balloon. Let go of stress and pressure and ground level belief systems. Hot air balloon rises, and it does mean, again, let off the steam in order to rise, add more fire. So he does look and need to do that in order to get another position. What must he not do? So don't do. We've got dancer. And there would tell me stop literally skirting around and around in circles with this subject matter. So that is how we use our book with cards, charms, coins. If you're a tarot reader, easy, lay them down. So that's my Divination Divided book, my coins, and my various charms. So I hope you all enjoyed that and had a bit of a look. Let me find my cover. There's my cover there. And that's the book using a few different modalities. Thanks for listening.